Construction.
What's up, everybody? It's the Hd Construction. You can find us at hrdconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hrdconstruction, as well as facebook.com/hrdconstruction with your host Alex and
Chimp vs. Raccoon.
And it's Bay Harbor Bitching, which means it's covering
Dexter, Season 8.
Which episode is this?
This is the fucking finale called Remember the Monsters, which
boy.
I think is an awesome name.
Yes, and when you find out the context of the phrase, you're completely disappointed. So, Remember the Monsters episode is directed by Steve Schill. Wow, were they right with that guy?
What's his name?
Steve Schill. They're shilling you garbage.
Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad.
What? Written by James Manos Jr. I guess he's a developer. Based on a novel by Jeff Lindsay, and who gives a shit? Starring Michael C. Hall, Jennifer Carpenter, Desmond Harrington, whose cheekbones I think are, who's playing Quinn. I think his cheekbones are like trying to escape his face. So anyway, how do we start out this episode, Danny? Because
it left us off with.
I'm still reeling from it. Go ahead.
Deb being, come on, Deb was shot in the last episode, trying to capture Daniel, whatever Vogel, yeah, and so it's like what the fuck, and now she's in the hospital. Is that how it started?
Who cares?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, her getting to the no, actually starts out with Dexter.
It was so much that I like kind of can't even remember almost.
No, it's terrible. It starts out with Dexter running towards the airport, and he has to find some way to get Allison out of the.
You just called her Allison.
No, Elway. Sorry, Elway. Out of off of this girl's trail.
Oh, that's how it starts off. Okay.
Still blonde. So what he does is he fakes a terrorist threat on Elway.
What was the significance of the stuff he put in the bag? Like,
I don't know. I mean, he just bought a bunch of shit.
I thought he was buying ingredients to make a bomb or something.
He just could have took the bag and threw it in there. That's all. He'd have to buy all that extra shit. Whatever. And then Elway is like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like making himself look really ridiculous in front of the police. I got into something like that once, like in front of.
But Elway's such a dick. What is his main motivation?
Money. He wants money. There's a.
Yeah, I know, but he's so like over the top about it.
Why not? I was actually glad he didn't get killed in this episode. Kind of like his dickish character. So he lost money. So what? But anyway, he goes. That happened to me once at an airport. I remember
You got detained?
No. I saw some guy acting extremely strange before a plane trip. He was just doing really strange shit. Like he was eating bologna. I don't even want to say what it was. He was
eating bologna. Oh my god, that's so weird.
I know, but it was very bizarre the way it was. And then like the funny thing is, like as soon as we were walking in, like that was enough. Just him acting all strange, like an Argento hero. We were just walking into the plane, and as soon as we walk into the plane, like already my receptors are up. Like this guy's fucking strange.
Yeah, but you're a really paranoid person.
Well, that's true, but this guy was enough to actually make me, be like, okay, let me do this. But as soon as we walked in, he comes in, and he almost makes his way into where the pilots sit, and he starts looking around the cabin. He goes, "Oh, okay." And then he goes, I was like, "What the fuck?" So I was like, I told somebody, and then.
And what happened?
They delayed our flight for about half an hour.
Oh, man.
I was scared. I hope he's not listening to the show, because he's probably like, okay, even though he wasn't.
Like, I will kill him.
Even though he wasn't that racist caricature I just said. But anyway, so yeah, I remember that. Anyway, who gives a shit? So Dexter, he in doing that he fucks up the flight, and with the storm. What was the storm's called? The storm, the hurricane.
Hurricane Sandy, I believe that it destroyed a large part of Long Island and New Jersey.
And did Dexter say he was stronger than the storm in this episode? I forget. And Governor Christie. Only people from New Jersey would know that guy. So anyway, they fucked themselves over. So him and Hannah and Harrison decide to leave. I don't get it. I mean, like, I was alright with this episode. I don't understand.
This is my main issue. Can't Hannah just put a fucking hat on her head or something?
A wig.
Just wear some sunglasses.
Like, a wig from Chicago. Like kind of like those 1920s flapper.
Shave your head. Like, look like you have cancer. Who cares? Just get away.
There's a lot of stuff in this episode. I mean, it wasn't the worst. Because there was
That is like by far my biggest peeve with this season so far is that
there was a point
simply just dye her hair. She'd look hot as a brunette. All girls look hot as brunettes.
Yeah, there was a point in this episode where I was like, all right, they redeemed this. You know, I mean, this episode, not the season, but this episode. But then it, of course, went right back to Shitsville. But there's a couple of things. So, in a nutshell, just what happens. Just list it off without going out through the whole thing.
Okay, well, so the flight's detained, blah, blah, blah. So now they're back to kind of square one, getting Hannah out of here. She's going to leave through some, like, private bus or something because everything else is being watched. Of course, she can't wear a wig or something,
no,
whatever.
Of course not. Why would she?
Meanwhile, Deb got good news that the bullet was not that bad, you know, bounced around, missed all her vitals, blah, blah, blah.
Somebody was saying that she got shot in the same exact spot when she got shot by the, what's his name's daughter?
Trinity's daughter.
Trinity's daughter, right.
Yeah. And, you know, so that seems okay. And then, whatever, Dexter...
I like how they have the guy, if anybody saw The Killing, the TV show The Killing, which was really good but now it got canceled, so had a really amazing third season with kind of a stupid ending, but it was still good. The guy, one of the guys from the first and second season plays like a very bit role. He's very important in The Killing, but in this he plays like an animal vet, like a guy who sews up.
That guy was from The Killing?
Yeah, he fixes. He reminded me. Did you ever see Basketball?
Yeah.
Didn't he look like a little bitch or whatever his name was, the little guy that they kept fucking around.
It's been a really, really long time since I've seen that movie.
If you watch it, you'll be like, hey, that kind of looks like that guy. But anyway, he plays.
No, I felt so bad for that guy. He was such a nice guy. He was so cooperative.
I think they based some characters in South Park on him, but I can't think of who. Anyway, so
whatever. So then
I know I sound really somber in this episode because I feel very defeated. But anyway, Saxon does what?
He's being a complete douche and denying all knowledge of it.
That was pretty funny. I like how he cold cocked a guy in the middle of a fucking parking lot with a gun and nobody saw him literally hit a guy over the head with a gun and steal his car. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, and then he goes into a vet office and gets his bullet wound from Deb. At least Deb got him. And makes him stitch him up.
But he cuts the guy's tongue out. Like, don't you think that would take a little bit long to cut a guy's tongue out? Like,
oh, I think he could do it.
I know, but
how long could it take?
Remember Itchy the Killer? It took him at least like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but he was.
But I mean, let's say the guy says, "Stick your tongue out so I can cut it out." Wouldn't you? Yeah. With your left hand, open the car door open and get the fuck out of there? Or would you just let a guy just cut your tongue out so he won't?
Maybe he made him do it himself at gunpoint.
At first, when I saw him, I thought he just got stabbed in the gut and that's why he was bleeding. You know, because it looks like because the blood fell on his shirt that way. But no, he actually sat in the car and let the guy cut his tongue out. Yeah, okay, that makes complete sense. Of course.
Maybe he did. You're getting too angry. You're too angry.
I can't be angry.
You're thinking too emotionally with this review.
Oh, okay. Please enlighten me how I should have accepted this. Go ahead with Deborah. What happens with her stupid ass?
Okay, so then basically something goes wrong. She has like a stroke, and now she's like a fucking vegetable. And I felt so terrible about this.
I did feel very it was so funny.
I started crying.
It didn't impact me as much as I wanted it to. I think it was just because I was so sad. I remember I told you I saw spoilers for the show.
Yeah,
I knew a long time ago.
Well, you know, I finally watched the preview after watching the final episode. I went back and watched it, and it shows scenes, like my friend was pointing it out. It shows scenes that aren't in it. Like it shows old clips, I suppose. Because at one point my friend was saying he had this theory based on a scene in the preview where it shows a knife fall to the ground, then you see Dexter's feet tilt back, and he's thinking, oh, that means Dexter slit his own neck or something. Oh. But that's not in the scene. And then also I think it showed the church from season 6 at one point or something.
Oh, okay. Did you see the one where they show like Dexter skateboarding and he wins a race? I didn't understand that because I didn't see that in any of the seasons, so it's very strange.
Yeah, and then there's a point where he's like on a floating skateboard, and there's like a big truck filled with manure.
That was a little strange. So anyway, Deborah is basically...
This goes back to Angel being a time traveler.
I wish he fucking time traveled in this show, believe me. with what they gave him. They fucked his character. They fucked Masuka. At least
Oh,
Quinn.
fuck them. What are you talking about?
What did he do? He did nothing. They didn't. What happened to the bench? Nothing. They never found out. They never found out that Dexter was a fucking serial killer, which they should have done.
But I'm kind of happy they did.
Why?
In a way. I wasn't sure what I wanted, but
I wanted to
don't
see
know.
some impact because it felt like another season with just another big character dying. They could have easily went on with another
Yeah, but the
season.
big character was Dexter. Dexter died, technically. Like, his whole persona died.
What I don't understand is with, like, and I felt bad for Deborah, but it didn't impact, I had the same issue. I saw Breaking Bad a few minutes before that, too, so I was like, wow, a really good episode, and I knew, like, coming in, I was like, this is gonna stink, and I kind of set my expectations really low.
I wouldn't say it stunk. I would say it was a little anticlimactic.
The same thing that happened to Deborah happened to another character in the Sopranos finale, so I was kind of like, it kind of wrung that kind of feeling, although Deborah's was more emotional.
Can you hear my cat purring?
No. Deborah's was way more emotional. Like, if you're really stuck with a character, I couldn't stand if somebody just saw
I was so sad.
I felt bad for her because I was like, you know, she got some closure with Quinn by telling him she loved him. I don't know if she did that in any other episodes before.
Not really. She was always kind of cold.
And she dies, but it just felt like they just kind of crammed it in because they were dealing with Saxon's bullshit.
Dexter got to say goodbye to her. That was pretty much the last thing he said to her.
Right. Like, you can tell when they say shit like that, something bad's gonna happen. Especially when he's saying to Harrison. And then he was on the boat and he called Harrison and then he threw his phone out in the water. I was like, okay, maybe something good's gonna happen. And he decides...
Well, he didn't kill himself, but he did kill himself. Because... everyone he knows is dead, and he has no connection to the world anymore. And Harry's not even there. Harry wasn't in this episode.
We find out Dexter's able to swim through fucking tornadoes or whatever else.
Well, you know, that's part of the superhuman time-traveling powers.
This is like the end of it. I don't have to watch this show anymore. Like, that's what I feel so bad. They didn't have to deal with Zach. They didn't have to deal with Vogel, Saxon, none of those characters. They didn't have to deal with any of that shit. And they still put it in. They should have just dealt with Dexter being found out, and that's it. But I'm not a fucking TV writer. But it was like, here's the thing.
I don't know. If he was found out, that would make it like a negative ending. This is a positive ending.
This is what people were saying. Like, Dexter knows Hannah for, what, less than a year? And he trusts a serial poisoner with his kid. And
but he's a good person.
Here's the thing. He's related by blood to Aster and Cody. Don't you think they're a better family fit than fucking Hannah? I mean, they're like actually blood relatives. Hannah. She kills her husbands for money. I mean,
he's a serial killer too. Who cares?
Yeah, but he's an idiot. Like they only put in the newspaper that Dexter died, right? That he died. His ship got destroyed and he's drowned or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna wonder where Harrison went. Like, nobody's gonna be like, yeah, okay, we're fine with it. Harrison just.
Well, what are they gonna do about it? Honestly.
They're gonna maybe try to search for Harrison. Maybe they might think that Harrison was on a boat.
They're like lost in the middle of Argentina. They're not finding him.
Right, but I mean, they don't know that he's in Argentina.
Right, so they're never finding him. So that's it.
Right, and it's just ridiculous. It's just.
They might even eventually find out Dexter is a serial killer. Who knows?
And then but we're not as a.
Definitely gonna see surveillance of him. You know, stealing Deb's body and all this, but they'll kind of take it as he was just a depressed guy who killed himself after burying his sister in the sea or something. For
TV, like, you can't just leave it. You have to specifically hint that people will find out who he is. Like Angel and Quinn, when they find out that he killed what's his face Saxon, they were kind of like they put it in the mode of that he killed this guy out of revenge. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's a serial killer. You know, it wasn't like that. Like,
but why do they have to know? I don't know. I'm happy with it, sort of.
Nah, and then he sits down. He becomes a lumberjack.
Now he's like starting a whole new life. He's like this depressed lumberjack who might or might not kill ever again.
So he's I kind of like the idea that he's torturing himself and he's kind of staring at us at the end in his and they didn't even. I don't know why. It's a small thing to get pissed off about, but. They didn't even cut to black. It kind of just gradually faded to black really cheaply. And I was like, oh, God, that's even cheap the way it fucking ended, the final shot. Because I was like, yes, when he rode that fucking ship into the storm, I was like, cool, like, that's pretty awesome. And then I was like, then they had the final line of like, let's get some ice cream. I wish they would have fucking put Hannah poisoning that little brat.
You see her like, okay, and then it shows the ice cream, and she just like empties a little vial into it or something.
Yeah, like, because imagine now she has to be saddled with a kid.
Right.
Who knows? You know what I mean? They should have hinted it more. Like, I thought they